friends, welcome back to my channel. It is officially August, which means it is time to talk about my Pan That palette after 19 months of usage. It is absolutely bananas. Before we can talk about my current state of the palette, I'm gonna go ahead and show you what my palette looked like after 18 months of usage. And here's what my palette looks like after 19 months of usage. Okay, so let's talk about some noticeable differences that we have with the palette. The first is Espresso has gone bye-bye. I tried playing with this shade and it was just awful. One, felt like it was so dark and I literally barely tapped my brush into that color. And the second thing was it was so hard to blend. It was so patchy. This rarely happens to me these days, but I actually wiped off my eye makeup because it just was looking awful and started over. Again, I normally can make something work or I can figure something out and just kind of deal with it, but I absolutely couldn't. And so Espresso had to be tossed out of here. So I've officially popped it out and blacked it out so that way we know she gone. I also wanted to make a point to use maroon. Last month, I pointed out to you guys that I really hadn't used maroon. It was one of the few shades in here left to really test out and make a decision on. And here's what I'll say. It really looks maroony and reddish when I swatch it and look at it, but the effect of it on my eye is it basically comes across as brown. There is what appears to be if you see it up close maybe, you can see I don't know, maybe a little bit of the fact that it's shimmery and it looks up close that there is some essence of glitter, but you don't get that at all on the blending out. It really just looks like a satiny, very simple satiny brown shade in the crease. So it can stay around. Do I think I will pan this completely by the time the year ends? I don't know. The formulation of this is dry, so it's not as creamy as Merlot. Merlot, I could just feel the dip forming every time I used it. It's a really creamy formula, but with this, I don't get those vibes. So I really don't know. I think it's gonna depend on how efficiently I move any of these that do have pan showing out. I will say that in the month of July, this was a little bit slower moving because I didn't always wear makeup, which is unusual. Normally in the summer, I do still tend to put on at least eyeshadow and concealer, but there were a number of days when I was sick where I wasn't leaving the couch, so I didn't put any makeup on, or I was just sitting in the apartment and took Luna to the park, and it's just been really hot and I haven't felt with the activities that I was doing I wanted to put makeup on. And so aside from days when I was filming, I didn't wear much makeup, so I feel that slowed some of the progress overall. And if I have another month like that, I definitely think it will be harder for me to complete this palette. But August is really a business month for me in the sense that I do a lot of prep work to get ready for the school year. And thinking about the 2 intensive graduate classes I'm taking this fall, I'm probably going to spend more time preparing for the school year than I normally do because it is going to be a really intense September to December. It's just going to be really intense, and I know that. So if I can do as much to prepare and help alleviate some of that stuff, it will be a lot easier. So enough of that ramble. Let's talk about other shades that I've used. So I didn't end up mixing Opal and Merlot like I wanted to because, again, just not enough makeup days. So I didn't end up doing that. But if you look at Orchid, I did expand the pan of Orchid and I'm pretty happy with that. I only did a 1 shadow look with Orchid once and I wasn't infatuated with it, but I didn't test it out enough to see if I would want to do it more, if I could make it work. And I also didn't film it. So once I get more comfortable with testing that out a bit more, I'll decide if I want to do a 1 shadow tutorial with you guys on that. I did, however, hit pan on Camel, which I am really excited about. I definitely don't use this one all the time, but I've been really liking the color of camel with a soft gold lid. I just think it looks really nice. It's actually what I have going on today. I've got some gold from a different palette in my crease. It definitely is a color that I have to build up a little bit, but I like the look of it. So I was really happy with that. I also used Dusty Plum. I really love Dusty Plum. It's one of those shades that I don't know how I didn't discover it sooner in this palette, and it's not a shade I would probably buy singularly on my own, but I really enjoy the effect of it. So I just was really happy with the fact that I did get some progress and some fresh pan on here. I did not reckon with mulberry, and so going into next month, I really want to test out Opal and Merlot together, so that's going to carry through. I also want to decide what I'm going to do with mulberry, if I want to keep it or not. And then lastly, I want to still work on Orchid. I really want to aggressively finish this pan off. I really hope that at least by the end of August that the top part of Orchid is gone, which will leave me with just this bottom section. And I feel like that is pretty reasonable, because I will say, even though I didn't love with Orchid the one shadow look, I discovered like a pinky shade in my Winky Lux palette that I think pairs beautifully with Orchid as a crease shade, and I did wear that a number of times. So happy with this progress. I'll be curious to see where we are going into the fall in the month of September, but so far, so good. The other shadow that you guys know I have is my Too Faced Matte Eye Shadow. I actually have some noticeable progress on this puppy. As you guys can see, I have officially cleaned the top part. I have cleaned this side, and I have cleaned a little bit over here. I will say to you though, I might be cheating slightly, or you might consider it cheating, but who cares? It's my challenge, so I'm gonna do what I want. But what I've been doing is I've been using this tool. I've been using a tool, and what I've been doing with this sort of like pointed side is I have actually been going in and crushing parts of the shadow to make like little powdery bits of it, which has made it, one, easier to pick up on my brush, and two, it has also created much more usage in here. And to be quite honest, if I do have one more month where I wear a lot of eyeshadow and do that, I probably could finish this off in its entirety. I really don't know if this palette is just really hard pressed, if these pans have just become hard and are no longer good. Like, I don't know what it is, but I'm really uncertain on if I want to use any more shades in here. This has been so much work to use this and to pan this one shade. And even though I feel like this pinky color could work really interchangeably with the cream shade in here, I just don't know if I want to put forth the effort to do it, or if I just want to move on to other cream shades. We'll see what happens when I actually finish this shade off, if ever finish it off. But again, it's just very slowly moving along. All right, guys, that is it for this 19-month update. I look forward to sharing my progress with you in my 20-month update, but for now, I'll catch you in my next video real soon. Bye.